Okay, so our camera's here today. I don't know why I flipped that for some reason. Oh well. Okay. So
I have no idea what that means, but that's wonderful, Suzanne, that the camera.
You're like, great.
I never knew where the camera was to begin with, but thank you for that. I just hope I'm looking in the general
That's
direction.
what I love about her. That is what I love about her.
Bring
All right.
nothing to the table this way.
Stop it. You bring a lot to the table. So, and actually Shannon brought this topic to the table today because we forgot Father's Day.
In all fairness, my dad had just died.
Right.
So, and we weren't getting together on Father's Day,
Right.
and we forgot when we were planning our next episodes.
Yes.
So, a little bit of leeway on this one.
So today we really wanted to talk about fathers and their impact on their children and why fathers are so important.
So important.
I feel like there's a lot of, a lot of broken families these days. Not, I shouldn't say broken, but it's not traditional anymore.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many divorced families. I think sometimes we forget about fathers. I know, when I talk about, I posted something the other day about being a mother, and a coworker came up to me and said, hey, don't forget about fathers too, especially in this age of divorced parents. I think it's a challenge for fathers because they really do feel left out a lot.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, they do. And it's all about the nurturing and the mom, and there's a lot of energy in the world around moms. And the irony is, as a clinician, I have to tell you, I'm doing a lot of treatment of people from their wounding from dads.
They have daddy issues.
Yeah,
Right.
and I don't say that to be disrespectful to dads, but what I'm really saying is you guys showing up is so critically important. And when you don't, they can land on my couch for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of talk about if you have a daughter and if you have a son, because there are two different impacts that you have on each of those children as a father.
Yes.
And also kind of talk about some of our experiences with our fathers and how that shaped us. I know, it's so funny, my dad just left. So my dad is... he was always very proud of me and always expected a lot of me. And I really don't think I could do any wrong in my father's eyes. There were a couple of times when I was in high school, and if I disappointed him, like I just felt the guilt of disappointing my father. And so my dad has always been a huge influence in my life because I feel like that is why I strived so hard to be a perfectionist, to do everything right, to get good grades, to make sure I didn't disappoint him. So I had that whole thing in my life. And I, now as I'm older, he just came into town unexpected and wanted to get together this morning. And I was like, I already had a busy morning, but I couldn't say no to him because I can't say no to my dad. So that's a really difficult thing for me.
Right. It's so interesting how literally as you're talking, I'm like, oh, I just wanted my dad to be proud.
That person. Yeah.
So it's fascinating how we can get injured on both sides. So fathers, pace yourself on this video today because you're going to be like, well, then what am I supposed to do?
Right.
But I think what you're highlighting is extremes that you felt pedestalized by your dad.
Yeah.
Put on a pedestal. This is my angel. She can do no wrong. She is the smartest, the best, the most athletic, the most beautiful. And so that was a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
So that
and
was
I
a
also
bit
think
extreme.
it had to do with my older brother passing away. So when Trace passed away, I was then the oldest. And so I automatically felt like I had to step up anyway, and then having that extra on me.
Yeah, that's
I
the
mean,
role.
please, I don't want to make it sound like my dad screwed me up because he
Oh,
didn't.
no.
If anything, it's the exact opposite, right?
No, and that's why this video is so important, is that I think every father has the best intentions. Every parent has the best intentions. And yet we're just walking in the dark,
Right.
and kudos to your dad for being so proud of you and being so loving and being so supportive. And what's the irony is maybe if you were the baby, you wouldn't feel any of that pressure.
Right.
It's there's no exact science because different personalities react differently. You know this as a parent. You do the exact same thing with somebody and you have two kids. One does great with it. The other one is in therapy for the rest of their life. And you're like, what the
did I
heck?
do?
Yeah.
Right.
Because it works with what. So it sounds like you had a great father who adored you, but how it impacted you with your personality and your birth status and a tragedy in the family was this.
Right. And so, so I think that is very interesting that we show, how your parenting can impact your child as they get older or even when they're young. Now you, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but Shannon had a very different situation with her father.
I did, and I had one that I think happens to a lot of people just because, like, you're talking about divorce, right? Mm-hmm. So I had, my dad was wonderful for me. He adopted me at 2 years old. And so he picked me, which is pretty exciting. Like, he met my mom, but not only did he marry her, but he said, I want this little girl to be my daughter. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty, I felt pretty valued. Mm-hmm. And so he adopted me officially, and he was my rock, and he was there. And my mom was an alcoholic, so she wasn't for those first 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. And so he handled everything. Mm-hmm. And was like, breakfast every day, and just really adored me and, put me on a pedestal. And then when they divorced at 10, his drinking took off, and his sadness and his despair and his struggles. So it felt like overnight I kind of lost him. And then as he was just kind of coming out of his own pain and his own just like, I can't deal with all of this, he met someone. And then he dated, and then he moved in, and then he married. And I never really felt like I got him back again because she had 5 kids. So this is my experience in my body was I lost my dad, and then I spent the rest of my life literally trying to get him back, trying to connect, Dad, can we go to dinner? Nope, I'm married. If you want to see me, come to my house. Well, can we just trying to get like my dad to myself? Like there's 6 of them and there's one of me. And, so I never felt like I had him again. And then I'm sure he had feelings about me for whatever reasons. And, that's one of the things about my dad. He's a Vietnam vet. So sometimes the way he saw things it felt a little distorted to me. Yeah. Lots of anger stuff and different stuff. So we literally were estranged and disconnected for most of the rest of my life. And so I feel like I went into the world at 16, 17, 18, looking for someone to please love me again.
You felt abandoned.
I felt abandoned, and I just wanted to find my daddy again. Mm-hmm. And so who do you think I found? People that would love me to pieces, put me on a pedestal, and then abandon me. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that dads need to know is that for your daughters, you are setting the stage for their future relationships, right? Who they choose, how they love, who they pick, because we, as the Imago theory says, we have to resolve what's unresolved. So if I feel abandoned, if I feel that you don't love me, if I'm not daddy's little girl, if I'm not your princess, and I feel that, I'm going to choose somebody who's going to recreate that feeling, which I definitely did for like 20 years of my life. Right. I chose a lot of alcoholic men when I was in my 20s that adored me and yet hurt me in their addiction, not meaning to, but
can't you go the opposite? Because I feel like treating your daughter as your princess can also have some negative side effects, right?
So what you started to say is like extremes of anything is bad, but I think the middle ground is letting your child know, I really value you. And these are the reasons I value you. Not just because you're pretty or not just because you're smart, but I value all these different parts of you. This is why I'm proud of you. Not just proud that you're on the cheerleading team. I'm proud that you're kind. I'm proud that you're a good person. Spending time with your daughter. Valuing them, role modeling for them. Hey, why are you hanging out with them when they're treating you like that? You deserve more than that. Don't put up with that. Right. Helping them recognize you are a good person. You deserve these things, and role modeling that for them, not only in your words, but in how you treat them. And then here's the doozy, how you treat their mom, whether you're married to her or not. Now that's tough. Yeah. Because you go through a nasty divorce, there's mudslinging, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, how you treat their mom, she's watching. This is how relationships work. And she's going to then choose somebody who will create those same feelings.
But not that just their mom, but also all women.
All women.
mean, the women that you work with, the women, the waitress, you're not patting her on the back or flirting with her. It's how you treat all women.
Yes.
Right?
Respect the things you say. Hi, Michael.
Oh, Michael Bosco. He's got 2 daughters.
Oh,
he says he can't wait to watch this later. Have a great day.
Oh,
Thanks,
great.
Michael.
And I know Glenn's on here.
And Chris is on here too.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah.
Hi, Lisa. So how you treat all people, how the boundaries around respect, all of that, your daughter is watching. You know, I just got a flashback from the most beautiful scene. My favorite movie, I watch it over and over again, What Dreams May Come, with our, dearly beloved Robin Williams, who's not with us anymore. But there is a scene, the children die early in the movie, and there's a scene when he's in heaven and he meets his daughter, but he doesn't know it's his daughter. And she said, yeah, I chose to come back as Asian because my dad always thought Asian women were the most beautiful women in the world. And she said, and he always would, there was always an Asian stewardess that he would say, gosh, they're just so kind and demure and beautiful. And I always wanted my dad to see me that way, which was a bit of a double-edged sword because she didn't feel
that she was
like
that person.
she was that. And so, and it was a moment, and he said, well, gosh, I hope she knew that her dad thought she was beautiful too, But it's such a fine line. So not doing the extremes, but staying in the middle.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about, because I do see this, maybe in my generation, maybe not so much in the younger generation, but a lot of women that feel like they just need a man to take care of them. Where does that come from? Because I always felt very independent. I guess that's from my dad always believing that I could take care of myself no matter what.
Yes, empowering you.
Empowering
you
me.
did that. That's great. You did lots of great stuff.
Right. So I'm always baffled by, and I have friends that really believe they just need a man to take care of them. Where does that come from? Is that from their dads?
Well, it could be, but here's what's so interesting with these kinds of things. Like even you look at narcissism, it can be created from a lack or it can be created from too much. So I think this is the exact same one. Either a daughter that grew up feeling like they always wanted to feel protected. Why doesn't my dad protect me? Why can't I be daddy's little girl? Why can't somebody caretake me? And so then what happens is, by God, I'm going to find it. I'm not going to go through my life without feeling protected. Then the opposite of that is, we see this, sometimes we parents, we overdo, we enable, we rescue, we meet every single need they have, hence delivering them into the world believing, well, who's going to meet them now?
Right.
Who's
going to take care of me?
Who's going to take care of me now? Because I clearly deserve, so that entitlement thing. So your dad did a great job of empowering you, and that's a really powerful father trait, to be able to say to your daughter, you've got this. Are you kidding me? You've got this job. You're smart, you're beautiful, you're capable, you're kind, like whatever it is, empowering them.
What if you're a mom, let's say you're a divorced mom, and you know that your ex is wounding your child, or is there a way to buffer that? What can you do as a mom if you see, if you were married to a narcissist or an alcoholic or someone who can potentially wound your child?
Yeah, when you figure that out, you let me know. Kidding.
But I guess it's you do have the one strong parent. That's always important, to have at least one strong parent. I
think that one of the things we as the other parent of whatever it is, maybe it's a mom that's doing that, right? So the other parent, I think your responsibility is, as soon as possible, get a therapist on board, because guess what, folks? They're impartial. So they're not bashing mom or dad. They're educating your child that, you know what, daddy can't show up for you because he has a disease of alcoholism, and they can do all that teaching, which is really important. But I do believe as parents, there is an age at which we can start to say things, maybe when the kids are 14, 13, 12, that we can say, this is not about you. When they're younger, you can say that, but without explanation. So when they're younger, you might say, this is not about you. I know daddy loves you. I know daddy's hurting you right now. I know he doesn't mean to, but this is not about you. This is about what's going on for him. When they're 13 or 14, I would go out on a ledge and say, daddy did that when he was drunk. Daddy does things that aren't kind when he's drinking. That's not about you. That's about alcohol. And kind of start to explain to them that this is, the most important thing for kids to get is, you're not being ignored because you're a piece of crap. You're being ignored because dad is drinking too much, which can be a disease. and, you know, it's affecting you in a negative way, but dad's not meaning to affect you. Not that it makes you feel any better, but it's not that dad doesn't care about you. It's that he's under the influence of this chemical.
Yeah, and I think the key is, no matter whether you're a mom or a dad, is to not bad-mouthing the ex, right? I mean, no matter what your issues are together, or even if they have issues, to always keep it above board.
Yeah, and I think the word that I love to use with people, because it's really fair, because I'm a parent now, right? So it's hard for me. I'm not going to tell you you have horrible parents, because two kids are judging me pretty soon. And guess what? They're already judging me. Jury's already out. So I will often use the word unavailable. I'm so sorry that this person is unavailable to you right now. It sounds like maybe they've got a lot going on with work. Maybe they're not feeling well. I mean, I've been an unavailable parent to some degree because of not feeling great, right? So to be able to say, I'm so sorry that your parent is not available because they're not feeling well, and let's talk about how that makes you feel, and let's talk about what we can do to help you take care of you, but it's not personal. Yeah. You know, that I feel like is the strongest thing. I really, you know, back to my dad's story for a minute, full circle, I always believed I was the reason. Problem. I'm the problem. Why doesn't he love me? Why doesn't he want me? Maybe I'm not lovable. Maybe I'm disposable. And then once I recreated that with men in my life, then I'm disposable. Then I really believe I'm a piece of crap. I'm not, I have no value. And my dad's passing, as I shared before, I got 6 months with him. And the first question I said, because we had been estranged for a bit, was, why did you walk away from me? Why haven't you connected? Why did you kind of push me away? And, you know, he didn't have a lot of explanation. It was more like, I don't know, I was stupid. It doesn't matter now. Like, I'm here now and I'm leaving. And so we just focused on that. But I got to tell you, Suzanne, those 2 or 3 sentences of, I was stupid, basically there's nothing wrong with you, healed me so deeply. Like, it was 25, 30 years of, why can't someone love me, to, and him saying, I love you so much. And I don't know, I was a fool, I was stupid. Healed everything. I can't even tell you. So that's, you know, that's profound.
Yeah, Lisa says exactly why I'm listening. Exes that have mental health issues bring on lots of challenges. Yeah. You know, and on the flip side of that, you know, I think that also someone that's turning their, you know, if you're the strong parent and just trying to be there for your children, on the flip side, if you have someone that's an ex that's kind of making it difficult for you and turning your children against you, you know, that's also hard. I don't think fathers still to this day don't have the rights that mothers do in a divorce situation. I mean, I feel like it's still kind of difficult for dads to they have to really fight to get...
Well, it's evening out a little bit, it seems, because, you know, I treat so many people going through divorces. So it does seem like, you know, when I got divorced, I would agree with you. Yeah. Primary custodial parent basically, you know, meant for my ex, like, you take a back seat. I'm the primary. I've got them all these days. You see them every other weekend. I'm going to make all the decisions, but I have to check with you. It was really out of whack. And now everybody's coming in and it's 50-50. Yeah. 1 week here, 1 week there. We split everything. Maybe we don't even give each other money. You cover your week, I'll cover mine. So it is moving towards a lot more equality. If the man wants really that, then he can get that. Yeah. So
what can fathers do in a divorce situation to let their children, their daughters and their son know that they are there for them? I mean, is there something that...
Well, I think it's what we don't want to do, right? So one of the things, and then I want to talk for a minute about fathers and sons, because I don't want to, that's an important part. But one of the things is, it's what we don't want to do. So we don't want to shame, criticize, and judge. Dads get a bad rap because it's a little bit good cop, bad cop, right? Like, I'm the mom, I'm gonna hug you. Right. Oh, let's not ground him for a week. Like, oh, he's been such a good boy, you know? So we are a little bit, a lot of times, not always, because I have some girlfriends that are the dad. Like, they're like, I'm the dad, right? Yeah, like, that I don't mess with, right?
Do not mess with me.
Right, so, but there's usually that one parent that's kissing him to death. Yeah. And then there's the other parent that's like, no, they're cute, but they're grounded, right? Like this, you know, and so typically that's dad. dads. And so that's really, really, really important to have that good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
But sometimes it gets a little extreme. And so that's, men have a hard job because they do need to be the discipliner and wait till your dad comes home. They do need to set those boundaries and not be the pushover. But by the same token, sometimes they can be a little on the other side, which I would call shaming. Like, what's wrong with you? What
were you thinking?
And, and what are you, an idiot? Like, why would you do something like that? Like, I never did anything like that. So we can be very shaming. And the minute that happens, especially for boys, these men, they feel so inadequate, so not enough. These are the guys that you meet and reactive about everything. You're dating them and you're like, hey, did you take my book? I didn't take your book. I didn't touch your stuff. And you're like, whoa. Because they grew up with a dad that was on them, and like a bug zapper. And what are you thinking? Don't be so stupid. And they're so inadequate that now they're overcompensating, they're defensive, they're reactive. So I think it's
blaming others,
shaming others, judging others like they were judged. So I think it's important to, I think dads have a tough line because you do need to be the disciplinarian. You do need to hold the line, but you need to hold it in a kind way, which is like, hey, you're cute as a button and I'd love to fall for it like mom, but it ain't happening. You're still grounded. But I do love you.
Right.
And I know that you'll figure this out. So it's that fine line of not shaming, not judging, not criticizing, but holding a line that says, this is the punishment because I love you.
Right.
And because you need good boundaries. But don't worry, buddy. I know you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I find a lot of times, and I know my dad did this, love my dad, but he when he would get angry, you would know it, and he would raise his voice. Yeah. So I think there is that line with dads that you can discipline without anger, right?
Yes.
And I think that's kind of finding that line of discipline without anger or even without raising your voice.
Well, here's the thing, and I think you would agree with me especially as a single mom, because we share that, right? I was a single mom for 6 years. So, when you've lost it.
Yes, that happens often.
When you're like, hey, Lori, hey, Jason, hi, Melanie. When you've reached the point where you're like, you're not disciplining for them, you're mad.
Right.
And you're just now going off, or you're reacting, or you're doing whatever, bad idea.
Yeah.
Parenting is a skill. And so there should be a reason behind it, right? There should be a reason.
Right.
So it's like, if I'm telling you something, it's because you need to hear it, and I'm being instructive, and I'm setting rules, and I'm setting boundaries and all of that. If I'm screaming because I'm so triggered at what you did, I'm not parenting right now.
Right.
I'm dumping.
Right.
So, and am I judging? No.
Because it's happened to me a million
Don't put a video cam
times
in my house. Because it happens to all of us. But that's the best parenting is pausing. Go in your room, put yourself in timeout, breathe through it. We've talked about this before. Figure out what your trigger. Oh my God, I'm so triggered. If I would have said that to my mom, she would have put me through a wall. I can't believe my kid just said that to me. Oh my gosh, okay. Breathe. Then you figure out what really is going on. Then you calmly come out and say, you will not disrespect me.
Yeah, you will not talk to me that way.
It is unacceptable. This is the consequence. Because if you just react from that trigger, that's bad parenting, because you're not parenting at that point. You're just dumping your garbage and you're reacting. So so it's finding that line. So not that you're not going to be angry, but I really respect the parent that can say calmly, I'm very angry with you. I'm very disappointed in some of your choices. That's an interesting word. My mom refused to use that word my whole childhood.
What word?
Disappointed.
Oh.
And so that's one of those things that has a heavy impact, because to this day, if someone tells me they're disappointed in me, it's like wham! I'm like, oh,
That's your trigger.
Right? Because she would say to me, nothing you could ever do would disappoint me. And so when people are, like bosses will throw that out there, like, I'm really disappointed. It's like, you're really disappointed? Oh my God. Like, not just disappointed, but really? So it's powerful. Careful the words you use. Careful the statements you make. They're listening to everything.
Yes.
So definitely for dads, if you can be calm, because I know this. There's never been a man in my office who's ever understood that his spouse was afraid of him. They all do this look. What? Are you me? And I'm like, yeah, you're 6'4".
Yeah.
You're 230 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
When you raise your voice.
When you raise your voice, we get scared. And
Yeah.
they're like, I've never hit her. You don't have to hit anybody.
Yeah.
When you are built like that, when you are big, when your voice is deep, the kids and the women, we are intimidated by you. Know that up front and maybe dial it back a bit because you don't realize you're terrifying us, right?
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, and it's not your fault. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just, you're a big guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about, because I feel like you're really good at tools, is let's laying out the tools for dads on and how to treat their daughters, and then also how to treat their sons. Like, what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Like, what do we need to be doing what do fathers need to be doing to make sure that they're raising, healthy, grounded children?
Okay. So with daughters, one of the things that I think, and I'm, not just pulling from my career, but pulling from, like, I have a lot of girls, 2 daughters in my life and 2 sons in my life, and my husband, step situations. So watching, girls really love when their dads are excited and involved. Think about this. As a dad, do you really want to go to the dance recital? Really? Are you
I don't want to go to the dance recital.
Right? Are you loving that it's the 3rd day of dance recital and you're a guy?
And you got to stay till the very end.
And you're a guy and you're kind of like, I don't know much about the twirly thing, right? But you're excited to be at the baseball game. Yeah. So please show your girls that excitement that you're, honey, I saw your twirl.
Yeah.
Getting excited about them, getting involved in the stuff that they're doing. They're doing theater and book club and and twirling, and you can't really connect to it. Find a way, just like you connect to your wife's shopping, or you connect to your wife's sewing stuff, and you're kind of like, oh, stab me now, but it's important, and she's connecting to your golf.
Right.
So be excited for your daughters. Respond to them when they call and they say, I know my stepdaughter just got a job, and her dad was like, way to go, and he's so excited, and she, I know, needs that, and that's important, right? So be excited, be interested. As hard as it is, remember to call your daughter. How did that test go?
Yeah.
How did your audition go? How did your job interview go? That is really important. Showing interest in our girls, letting them know you have value. Your life is important to me. I am interested in you. Because remember, if you really want to know the tools, ask yourself who you want your daughter to choose. Do you want her to choose someone who's interested in her?
Disinterested? Right.
Do you want someone to choose somebody who treats her like she's
worthwhile
and protects her? So then think about what you want your daughter to choose and be that. Be protective, right? So those are those skills and tools, is showing protection, showing interest, providing quality time. That's important. Remembering special events, birthdays, Christmas, trying to think about who your daughter is. She would love this for her birthday because she loves books, right? Because I think it's easy when you look at dads and sons. Oh my God, I got you a catcher's mitt, I got you, a glove, whatever. It's like, so you can tell I'm a girl. I got you a soccer ball, I got you. Like, that's easy because if that's what you like, then it's easy for you to do what you like. So you really do have to stretch a little bit for the daughters, as do us moms. I'm always trying to figure out what my son likes and
my
needs.
daughter, I just take her to the mall and
it's
we're
so
like,
easy,
good.
right? Right. So with sons, with daughters, that's gonna be the protocol. With your sons, I think it's easy to show up at sports events and it's easy to be interested because you get it and you're on the same page. I think the more difficult task with sons is withholding the judgment and the shame, because you're teaching them how to be men, but please do it gently, because you have to understand, one of the things I do in my office a lot is I will stand on a chair and look.
My dad keeps calling.
Hi,
Dad, stop calling.
So,
it pauses our video.
One of the things that I will do is stand on a chair and kind of point at my client and tower over them, and then I say to them, that is how your child always feels.
Sees you.
And always sees you. Even now, don't you see your mom and dad that way? They're up here, they're bigger than us, and we're little with them.
And you just met my dad, he is bigger.
He is.
He's bigger than me.
He's a big guy, right? He's a big guy.
He can be very intimidating.
Yeah, and they stay that way our whole lives. So if you're teaching your sons, dial it back a bit. You don't need to be so rough. You don't need to be so firm. They already want your approval. This is a big thing with sons and fathers. They desperately want your approval. They want to know that you love them. They want to know that you are proud of them. They want to know you approve of their choices, right? And so when you disapprove, be gentle, because they are really striving for that, and they are really wanting that. And then the other thing with boys is definitely that quality time, creating those experiences together, going fishing with them,
going to the baseball game,
helping them make that school project. Those are the things that really make a difference, over time, is that my dad showed up. He did things with me. So for the absentee workaholic father, that really affects those boys. They really miss their dads, So does he feel my love, approval, pride in him, and am I giving him time?
And I think the other big thing that I know a lot of, maybe not just dads, but moms as well, have a hard time doing is apologizing when they have done something wrong.
Please,
and I think it takes a big person to look at yourself and say, maybe I shouldn't have screamed at them like that, or maybe I shouldn't have made them feel like that. I think when you can be a bigger person and apologize to your children, you will notice a profound impact on them.
I love that, and I think that the biggest thing that has saved me from beating the crap out of myself as a mom is that my mom taught me everything and anything can be cleaned up.
Yeah.
Because my mom came in with a bang for the first 10 years with her addiction and her alcoholism. And she has repaired and cleaned up every piece of it. Yeah. So as a parent, if you come in screaming or whatever, know that you can come back in 30 minutes and say, I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
That was not okay. I was reactive. I was hungry. I had had a bad day. I dumped it on you, and I am so sorry. Here's what I wish I would have said. Here's what I wish I would have done. And there's real healing in that.
And even with your father, on his deathbed, basically apologizing to you.
The healing.
Right.
The healing. And, it's funny you say that, Suzanne, and again, it makes me a little emotional, but because my dad and I were estranged, when I got the call that he was in hospice, I didn't just get that call. I got a call saying, reach out about your dad. I thought my dad had died based on what I had pieced together on Facebook, and I couldn't reach the person. So it was my stepsister, who I thank you for reaching out to me, but I couldn't reach her. It was late, and I thought he was dead. And to tell you what I went through, it was awful. And all I kept saying, the little girl inside of me kept saying, I wasn't even important enough for him to say goodbye. And so when he did say goodbye, and I felt important enough for that and valued enough, it changed my life. Yeah. Right? So, those kinds of things are so, so, so powerful. Even in the last moments. Yeah. It made all the difference for me. He left here with me knowing he loved me. He was proud of me. And that I will forever cherish. So thank you to my stepsister who reached out to me, and to my dad's family that, embraced me and brought me in, and my uncle that did all that and took care of me.
And it just goes to show you, if you are a dad and, you have been away from your child, or maybe it was a nasty divorce and you haven't been as connected as you wanted to be, I think it just shows that you can go and heal. You can heal that relationship. It doesn't have to, you don't have to stay away because you didn't do it perfectly. Right.
Right.
Like,
healing is possible.
Healing is possible.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it takes two parties. It really does.
Absolutely.
But my husband says all the time, your mom, I know your childhood, but wow, she's amazing. Like it's hard to believe she was so different in your childhood, because she has healed so much and she has changed so much and overcome so much. So it's definitely, these relationships are healable.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, show ideas, don't forget to leave them in the comment section. Don't forget, we're on podcast now. So if you're in your car or at the gym or on a walk and you just want to listen to us, We're on podcasts. Just search What Your Friends Won't Tell You on any of your podcast service providers. And we're on YouTube, so go subscribe to our channel. You can also watch all of our episodes on our website, whatyourfriendswon'ttellyu.com.
And give us ideas. We want to talk about what you want us to talk about.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny because Shannon had a funeral last weekend. I had a busy weekend, so we skipped a week. It wasn't intentional, but we apologize. And I had so many people ask me, hey, did you guys not post a video last week? So people are waiting for them. But we do want to hear what you guys want us to talk about. So if there's something specific coming up in your life, I mean, these are just topics that are coming up in our lives.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about knitting next week if you don't give us a topic. Yeah, we're going to be sewing and knitting next week. So you better get some topic ideas in here.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see you back here next week. Bye.
Bye.